You're watching The Globe on SABC News. Now we continue with Tino Mambeu, a political analyst from Zimbabwe based here in South Africa, and getting his reaction with regards to the Motlanthe report that was released today. Tino, you were just about to tell us exactly what your thoughts are on this report.
Well, without appearing to disrespect former President Kgalema Motlanthe, his report is to a very large extent fascist, disingenuous, and contemptuous to the people of Zimbabwe. It disregards the pain that the people of Zimbabwe have had to undergo time and again. And why do I say that? As much as it wants to pin the blame for all the hiccups, the violence, on Nelson Chamisa and the MDC alliance, it forgets to note that it is not Nelson Chamisa, neither is it the MDC alliance, which pulled the trigger that saw 6 people dying and several others injured. To an extent, it describes that scenario as the actions of soldiers that led to the deaths of people, of civilians. So if somebody kills someone, it cannot be described as an action. It should be called out as the killing of innocent civilians. They have not done that. There are so many other areas.
Tino, can I just come in there? The report states the fact that there was incitement previously, before the elections took place, where the MDC leader stated that, you know, this is what's going to happen if ZANU-PF takes over government or takes over power within Zimbabwe. As well, the people that came forward to the commission to give evidence. Now, this is what the report puts out, to say that this is what people came out to tell us, and from our investigations and the inquiry, this is what we've come out with. So basically, you're saying this report is should be null and void.
It's null and void in the fact that it says people were made to, were incited to go and protest. That is a fallacy. The people of Zimbabwe have got a wish, and they have always stated their wish to defend their vote. So they came out on their own to defend their vote. And in terms of anybody being incited to defend their vote, it does not warrant the coming out of soldiers to kill anybody or to shoot at anybody. Now, if you look clearly in that report, it shows certain amounts that are intimated to being the values of damages that were caused by the protesters. If you can look at the financial value, I tried to calculate those numbers. They are under $200,000. So to what extent would they say it warranted the killing of protesters? That's mere nonsense. Could we be saying that maybe property worth 1 million, 10 million, or 20 million was damaged? Then that could have maybe to a certain extent warranted the coming in with live ammunition and killing protesters. So a part to damage of 200,000, I don't think that warrant is such action from the police and
what do you think should be the compensation amount? What do you think should be the amount of the families, or unfortunately the families that have lost their loved ones?
It's not about compensation for the families. It's about Mr. Mnangagwa or President Mnangagwa agreeing that his soldiers were unruly and agreeing that he is, he is not being serious on the job. That is what the people of Zimbabwe want to hear.
The deployment of the army and the police was done in accordance with the laws of Zimbabwe. So what was different? What the report does state is the fact that the use of live ammunition was unjustified. So the report is it's seemingly kind of balanced, because the report says that on the government side, in deploying the army, the use of live ammunition was wrong. On the other hand, the fact that people were violent, and this then led to the discourse that took place, and people unfortunately lost their lives.
Yeah, but if we followed the testimony by the commander of the defense forces, he said his forces never shot at anybody. The police said we never shot anybody. So now, going back to that, and we've got a president who also says that he did authorize that, but he never gave orders to kill. So who killed the people? So we've got a scenario here where Mr. Motlanthe, his commission, should have found out who gave the orders to kill. But they did not that. They just said the actions of the military resulted in people dying. So did the military shoot in the air and people die? Did the military shoot at people? Did the military really kill people in Zimbabwe? Who killed the people?
Now, what do you think should happen going forward? What's the reaction from the MDC as a party and the leader of the MDC? What are they saying with regards to the Motlanthe report?
Well, it's quite unfortunate that the idea around the report is to try and pin the blame on Mr. Nelson Chamisa. I think you have heard what President Mnangagwa has said. He said the people that caused or that led the process should be brought to book. And you'd understand in a normal situation, in a normal country, where people are gunned down and people are killed in that way. Surely the police must be there to arrest the killers. But there was no killer that was arrested on that particular day. And up to now, nobody has come out in the open and said, soldier, so and so, somebody killed the people. But what we know is that the people were killed by the military. So as far as the report is concerned, it remains the fastest report which has been there to try and probably it's a PR exercise on the part of the government, and it does very much harm on the person of the former President Kgalema Motlanthe. I would want to excuse him, but unfortunately under these circumstances, he has not proved or he has not done justice to the people of Zimbabwe. We feel yet and we feel out of place. Now,
Tino, let's just move focus here and look at everything else that is taking place in Zimbabwe. The economic situation, there's a serious crisis in Zimbabwe with the finance minister doing all that he can to ensure that there is development and growth and investment coming into the country. Now, shifting focus, the fuel shortages, rising prices of basic commodities. How are Zimbabweans reacting to this, and how can a difference be made by Zimbabwean nationals in Zimbabwe and the Zimbabweans in South Africa as well?
What are they going to do? The Minister of Finance is a sick man. One day he said that when he gets into office, he's going to take away the bond note. He did not take away the bond note. What he actually said is the bond note is equal to $1. A whole Minister of Finance, who is a professor of economics, saying that a goat is equal to a cow. What do you expect the people of Zimbabwe to do? You bank money. Remember, in 2009, every account in Zimbabwe was converted to a forex account. It became a forex currency account. Then 5 years, 10 years down the line, that account now becomes an RTGS account. There are certain terms that we use in Zimbabwe. If I start using them to you now, you will not understand. Do you know what is an RTGS? You don't know that. You only know about an EFT or cash. It says the money is EFT or it's cash. But in Zimbabwe, we've got bond notes, balances, we've got RTGS account. The people of Zimbabwe are confused. RTGS account, explaining that to the people in the village. They don't understand what that means. So to a very large extent, there is nothing the people of Zimbabwe can do under such leadership. They have failed. We were so excited. I personally was excited when Minister Mturingo was appointed minister. But what we have seen recently is now become a ZANU-PF activist. It's no longer a technocrat that we believed was going to solve the problem of the country.
Very quickly, Tino, we are running out of time. 2 questions to you. What would you say to the finance minister of Zimbabwe in terms of going forward and how he can manage the situation and ensure that there's investment and the crisis is averted in Zimbabwe? And secondly, ZANU-PF Women's League and the Veterans League have both called for the age limit for a presidential candidate to be increased from 40 to 50. Your take, very quickly.
Very quickly, let me start with the war veterans. The war veterans are becoming a problem in the country, in Zimbabwe. And we just want to tell them, as the young people of Zimbabwe, that all those machinations will be resisted. It's one thing saying that elections have been stolen and you fail to prove it. But it's another when you go and tamper with the constitution to avoid young people from participating in politics. That is dangerous, and we would like to warn them that they should not take that course. That is very dangerous, and already the people are angry. I do not think it is in the interest of ZANU-PF to continue to anger Zimbabweans. We are not going to take that lightly. And to Mr. Mturingo, he should abolish the bond note. He should have straightforward policies that speaks the interest of the people. And he should stop going to Europe and going to America and say that Zimbabwe is open for business. When the people in Zimbabwe are not feeling taken care of by the government. He should first convince Zimbabwean investors, the people that are already investing and that are carrying the bulk of the suffering of the people on the road. Those are the people that he must convince, not white people, not people from Belarus or in Bangladesh. That will not solve his problems.
Tino, let's leave it there for now. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. And that is Tino Mambeu, political analyst from Zimbabwe, based here in South Africa, and just giving us his reaction with regards to the Motlanthe report that was released today. Now, in